Hi, and welcome to a Drafthouse Diary for Monday, December 1st, 2025, when we came out here to the Alamo Drafthouse at Littleton's Aspen Grove to see The Running Man.
Ha-ha!
And with me once again, Ian Porter, also my co-host for the Inter-Millennium Media Project.
Excellent to see y'all, or kind of... I shouldn't tell you about the two-way camera. Okay, never mind. That's the point of the film.
This, of course, is a new adaptation of the Stephen King novel, or the Richard Bachman novel, I think it was, previously adapted in the 1980s in a movie starring Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
A very different take on the material.
I haven't seen the original. At this point in time, in case that changes, thanks to our podcast, I have not seen the original. But even I understood a little bit of what the original was doing, and this is very different.
The original, just to set a little bit of groundwork here, the original adaptation in the 80s, it was mainly a commentary on violence in entertainment and violence as entertainment, and also, to some extent, a commentary on carceral culture. Yeah, the fact that our nation imprisons so many people and what that does to a culture as well. This was a different kind of commentary. It had some funny parts, but
Yeah.
This was a different kind of commentary because this was very much an adaptation for the 2020s. This was more about how media has changed, and how media is twisted and is gamed by those who want to use it to control people.
Gamed quite literally in this case.
Yes. The setup, of course, is that there is a network game show. It's either national or global. It's a reality competition show, which hits harder in the days since the creation of Survivor and The Amazing Race and all of the other kind of creepy competition reality shows that have arisen since that original Running Man movie. And the network that controls these also controls the police, also essentially controls the government. And they use this game show to control people in that bread and circuses, give them something else to hate. Well, we had some technical difficulties with that recording we were attempting to do out in public. So I just wanted to come back here and let you know that we had some more to say about this movie. And Ian has been able to join now from an undisclosed location. How are you doing, Ian? Don't give anything away. Maintain operational security. We are, yes.
Okay, good. Hi, everybody.
We'll have to make this fairly quick so you can't be traced.
Sounds excellent.
But yes, we there's a lot more I think we could say about The Running Man. It's definitely an artifact of its time in terms of how it approached this adaptation. But Ian, how do you think it held up just as a movie?
Honestly, yeah, this is The Running Man for the streaming era, which is kind of what we were discussing before. There's a lot more of it's going to seem weird. This is a movie about the power of a parasocial relationship, because we get to see this main character become so much more of an icon based on what people think of him, not what he is. And there's this weird, living up to the idea others have of him that he has to do. I found it very fascinating, but it's not always perfectly done, and this was the best example, but I won't call it smooth.
Yeah, I would say that it was paced pretty well. I think the performances were good. I think Glenn Powell was very good. And I do think that just as a film, as an entertainment, weird to talk about this as just as an entertainment, but it was a good action movie. I think Glenn Powell, he can carry a movie like this. There's people who disagree with that, but I think he did a fine job as our ridiculously competent everyman, and they make a point of setting him up at the beginning of somebody who has run afoul of the social and economic structure of this society because he looks out for other people, because he wants to make sure that his coworkers have proper safety and things like that. And so they absolutely make him somebody we can root for, somebody we can identify with, while at the same time, he's Glenn Powell. He's an incredibly handsome movie star who is both his character is competent in so many things. And then they give us really good villains to pit him against. Josh Brolin as the network executive who's behind all of this and who's not even presenting this horrible competition game show to the death in an honest way. He's manipulating it for the sake of the corporation and the government ultimately, because they're the same thing.
They're the same thing in this. Edgar Wright did a great job of somehow maintaining a story with reasonable reason, like a reasonable understanding of like rebellion and the problems in question, while making it a movie that could get through a network and a studio nowadays to wind up on the big screen. The fact that this movie then didn't do as well in the theaters,
Yeah.
I don't know where to land. I can't tell if that's a where the push was, what it was against, what people were wanting to hear and talk about right now question, but this did a good job of balancing being commentary and escapism.
And releasing it in December was a weird choice. I think that it would have done better as a summertime movie, but who knows?
This would have been much better as a springtime, early summer, get the movie season started film.
Just a few other members of the cast worth noting. A woman who is taken hostage by our good guy who is on the run, and yet then gets thoroughly Stockholmed by the whole thing and recognizes that he's a good guy and winds up helping him. Very good. But also Michael Cera as a strange sort of rebel character who has been preparing and just waiting for the opportunity to help somebody against the horrible government and corporations. He was fun. He added some weird energy that the middle of this movie needed.
Absolutely. This movie would have absolutely ground to a halt if Michael Cera hadn't like come in and just given the whole thing a shove. The entirety of the ending only works because the energy Michael Cera kind of gives to the narrative and the propulsion that provides.
And you mentioned Edgar Wright earlier as the director. This is definitely an adaptation of The Running Man for the 2020s, but it's also clearly got the sensibilities of the person who made Hot Fuzz and Scott Pilgrim versus the World and Baby Driver.
Yes. This has Edgar Wright written all over it.
Yes. Good choice to as someone to allow to take a new shot at this material. And another aspect of this being kind of the YouTube era version of The Running Man is that we also get commentary. We get characters who are presenting on YouTube their conspiracy theories about what's really happening, which are more on target than anybody might expect. It's got layers that it deserved.
It's interesting because it's rare sometimes to see a show or a movie in this case that has shows within it in that sense. But if anything's going to do that, it's this one, which is all about media and presentation. But this is a version where being able to be a presenter has been democratized, and that's not taken away from these characters, which is important.
Other parts of our trip to the Alamo. The pre-show was made for this film, and it was a pretty good compilation. We had Alamo's top 10 strangest Stephen King movies, which I think included things like Maximum Overdrive, a bunch of kids in Connecticut building a plane for an air race, reality competition TV show type things, like something from Korean TV about a competition show involving a climb up a slippery obstacle. A Stephen King PSA for libraries, which I thought was awesome, but was a little bit creepy.
That was just because of Stephen King, not even the presentation.
And of course, we got trailers for movies that kind of harmonize with the original Running Man adaptation, but also Death Sport and Rollerball and other things about violent sports and corporations.
Yes.
And a Michael Cera commercial for Pillsbury.
Oh, yeah! That's the one where it's like, it would have been almost more fun if I hadn't known Michael Cera would show up. But that was a good choice.
It was. And also, to top it off, we got a montage of clips from Family Feud with Steve Harvey being traumatized by the answers being given by contestants.
It's just a staple of modern YouTube, I think.
A fun pre-show that somehow captured the weird mix of tones that this movie had. So I'm glad we went to see this. I'd say the movie is worth a shot. It might be.
Oh, yeah.
It'll be on streaming soon, I'm sure.
Or will it?
Yeah.
No, yeah, it probably will be. Honestly, worth seeing.
And thank you for joining us for this Drafthouse Diary. I'll be back soon with more. In the meantime, enjoy your movies, and when you do, stay till the end of the credits.